Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So today I want to speak a bit on the strength of your 10th house. Okay. And a lot of things are said about the 10th house, that how it is the house of your karma, how it is the house of your career. But in my experience, and even Parashara says this, that 10th house is not really the house of your career. It is, of course, the house of your karmas. But in my experience, 10th house is about how you complete work. Okay, whether you can, we all start some kind of a work, and then, some people after starting that work, they leave it, in between. Some people quit at the very beginning, and then some people carry it through to the end. Whether they get success or failure is another matter. But how good are you at completing work? That is also seen from the 10th house. Okay. So how to know whether the 10th house is actually good or bad? Okay. So we know that the 10th house is one of the 4 Kendra houses, and it belongs to the Artha Trikona, along with the 2nd house and the 6th house. And it is also regarded to be an Upachaya house of the horoscope. Now, Upachaya means that this house is going to grow along with time. Okay. So 10th house represents your actions, which is, of course, karma. Okay. Your social status, your image, your recognition. Fame, honor, success, authority, rank, position, everything is seen from the 10th house. So I'll try to, explain what the 10th house, what makes the 10th house in your horoscope good or bad, right? And, I'll start from the more general points, which are good for any given house, to the more specific ones only for the 10th house. Okay. So we know that a house becomes good when natural benefics are placed in it, or, when natural benefics are aspecting a house, and a house becomes bad if, natural malefics are placed in it or aspecting that house. Similarly, a house becomes good if the lord of the house is placed with or aspected by natural benefics, and the house becomes a house becomes a house becomes good if the lord of that house is placed, or is placed with a natural benefic or aspected by a natural benefic, and the house becomes bad if the lord is placed or aspected by a natural malefic. Okay. Similarly, you also have to look at the dignity of any planet placed in a house. Okay. So if a planet is in exaltation or mula trikona, or in its own house, or if friendly planets are placed in the house, then of course the house gives good results. And if debilitated or inimical planets are placed in a house, then it gives bad results. Okay. And the same also applies to the dignity of the house lord. So when the house lord is placed in good houses, like in Kendra or Trikona to the Lagna, then it is good. And if it is placed in bad houses, then of course if it is placed in Dushthanas to the Lagna, then it does not give very favorable results. Okay. Similarly, house lords also give good results if it is placed in Kendra or Trikona to the house itself. Okay. And if it is placed in bad houses like Dushthanas to the house, then it is bad to the house. Okay. So I'll give you an example to make this point more clear. For example, say if the 10th lord is placed in the 5th, then that it is then that placement is considered to be good, because obviously the 5th house from the Lagna is said to be good. So the person may like his or her profession very much, but then the 5th house is the 8th from the 10th house, so there will be hindrances in career from time to time. Okay. Similarly, any astrologer will tell you that the 10th lord placed in 6th house is bad for the horoscope, and you may find yourself annoyed with your profession. But then the 6th house, remember, is 9th from the 10th house by the principle of Bhavat Bhavam, so career growth will still be good. Okay. So now coming to the 10th house very specifically. Okay. So if the 10th lord is placed in the 10th house, or if the 10th lord is aspecting the 10th house, then it becomes very good. Okay. Again, if the 10th lord is afflicted, all right, if the 10th lord is debilitated, or if placed in a bad bhava, then the house will get afflicted. All right. Similarly, if the Kendras and Trikonas to the 10th house are strong or are in benefic influence, then that will be good for the 10th house. Okay. Now, trine lords the lord of the 1st, 5th, or the 9th placed in the 10th house will make it good. If the lord of the 6th, 8th, or 12th are placed in the 10th house, then it'll make it difficult. Okay. And I would always say that rather than a house remaining empty, it is always favorable if a planet is occupying that house. Okay. And if a planet occupies a house, it should not be placed at the entrance or the exit of the house. That means within 0 to 1 degrees, or within 28 to 29 degrees. So a planet occupying a house is a planet occupying the house should not be placed just at the entry and just at the exit of the house. If a planet is occupying a house, it's more favorable if it is placed in the midpoint of the house, and it is true for the 10th lord or the 10th house as well. Okay. Now, the 10th lord should not be compassed. It should not be defeated in planetary war or graha yuddha. It should not be eclipsed by the nodes, or it should not be stationary in terms of motion, because then you'd not get very good results from the 10th house. Okay. And then if a retrograde planet is placed in the 10th house, then you will face a lot of obstacles when it comes to having your way in the career. Okay. Similarly, if the 10th house is placed in a Shubh Kartari Yoga, okay, Shubh Kartari Yoga means there is a favorable planet placed in the 9th house as well as a good planet placed in the 11th house. That is the Shubh Kartari Yoga. Of course, then the 10th house will give good results. If the 10th house is placed in a Pap Kartari Yoga, that means a malefic planet is placed in the 9th house, another malefic is placed in the 11th house, then of course the 10th house is not going to give you so good results. Similarly, in my experience, again, fiery planets, if placed in the 10th house, give very good results. Okay, Sun gives good results, Mars gives good results, even Ketu gives good results, because fiery planets attain directional strength in the 10th house. Okay, and that directional strength is known as Digbala, right? Just a minute. So that directional strength is known as Digbala. Okay. And similarly, Moon and Venus, if placed in the 10th house, they become Dikshanya because they attain Digbala in the opposite house. That means in the 4th house. So any watery planet does not do good in the 10th house. Okay. And Mars will be naturally strong in the 10th house because it is the natural house of exaltation. Similarly, Jupiter in the 10th house is good for making money, but then Jupiter becomes weak because this is the natural house of its debilitation. Okay. Saturn in the 10th house is good in a way that the 10th house is the natural sign of Capricorn. The natural 10th house is the sign of Capricorn. But then, Saturn being present in the 10th house can make you very, very close-minded, very, 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 very unwelcoming to new ideas and new opinions and so on. All right. And of course, we know that Sun is considered to be very good in the 10th house because then it is said to be at the midheaven or is close to the zenith during noon. Okay. And masculine masculine planets like Jupiter, like Sun, like Mars influencing the 10th house are considered to be more positive as compared to feminine planets like Venus or Moon. Okay. And since the 10th house belongs to the Earth Trikona, okay, so the Earth element, okay, planets favorable to the Earth element, of course, it is Mercury. The Mercury is considered to be good if it is placed in the 10th. Okay, so these are a few fundamental and important pointers that will help you to judge the results of the 10th house. Okay, now the thing that I want you to note is that all these factors that I mentioned can never be all positive or all negative. And the judgment of how the house is doing can be made only after a proper analysis using the above points as I mentioned. Okay. And the most interesting thing about astrology is that any house, any sign, or even any planet will never be fully good or fully bad, but it will give you both good and bad results. Okay. And how much good or how much bad, whether it is good or whether it is bad, or where it is good or where it is bad, are the challenges to the skill of the one having the placement, as well as to the skill of the astrologer who makes the predictions. Okay. So let's take an example before we wrap up. Okay, so let's say the 10th house and its lord is doing exceptionally well with Saturn in the 8th in a bad dignity with Mars and Rahu. So what will happen is, the 10th Lord in the 8th will create major obstacles with work or profession, because Saturn is the Karaka for your karma, and work or career is afflicted. But then, despite of this, your career will still be good and you'll still have good growth despite these obstacles, because the 10th Lord, okay, being with Saturn, is actually doing well at the same time. Okay, so this is just a way that I told you as to how to look at the 10th house and how to determine its strength. Of course, if you would want to know more about your chart, you are most welcome to reach out at the number provided in the description box. And please subscribe to the channel if you find it useful. Share it with your friends and family. And do leave behind your valuable comments in the feedback section. So that's it from me in this video. I'll see you soon in yet another video. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.